Welcome, everyone, to another exciting What If podcast panel show thing. I'm very bad at this. I'm very, very bad at this. Bringing the chaos this week, because, again, I am a living embodiment of not being able to do this right and on the level and stuff. It's just kind of like whatever. I'm Joe. And with me, I have three fantastic panelists today. We have, of course, working as our content curator, I believe. I'm so bad at this. Yali, welcome back.
Hey everybody, I'm your content curator. I am the person who puts the memes up on Mondays and the fun facts on Tuesdays. And I come here to hate on shit and I will not disappoint.
You do such a great job.
Thank you.
And joining us again as well, because he's been through a lot of these with us, Matt, thank you for joining us.
Hey, you know me. Rogue One checking in, Mr. Porter, Matty Ice, Matt the Stallion, so many other aliases that I have. But no, thank you for having me back again, guys. I love it. Love being here.
And coming from one of our other shows, I believe it's the Walking Dead one, but she's just amazing all around, is Jaz. Welcome.
Thank you. Awesome. Honor to be here.
So I guess we should go ahead and get started. And this episode was not what we thought it would be titled, basically, since the beginning of this show run. It was not just titled Party Thor. Again, if that was the title, then they needed LMFAO, and they didn't do that either. So it's all a big mess. But this time was, what if Thor was an only child? And that is just a mess of a title.
God awful.
Yeah, so bad. But in general, what did we think of it? Jaz, I'll start with you.
So for anybody who knows me, knows I'm not really the big Thor fan out of all the MCU movies out there. I mean, I love Ragnarok. I thought that was great. I loved Dude Thor when he was, the big Thor Lebowski guy. I love that. But outside of, not being a big Thor fan in general, I really like this episode because we got to see him not kind of like the big Thor Lebowski kind of version, but I mean, I guess it'd be more like if Thor went to college type of Thor. And I really enjoyed it. I thought it was great. And it was actually really fun to see something a little more, let's say, peppy than some of the dark stuff that we've been getting so far this season, which I've loved. I love seeing the dark stories, but it's a great little switch up from the other stories that we've been getting.
I feel like it's a palate cleanser to what we have coming.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yali?
Well, I did not think of it as a palate cleanser. I kind of was like, why are we doing another filler episode? We just had one not too long ago. But I do understand like the remaining episodes are going to be not fun for everyone. So I get it, but I did enjoy. There are a lot of parts I really enjoyed, but a lot of it had nothing to do with Thor. Personally, I didn't find him to be the least funny person or like the least intriguing. I'm with the thirsty people on Twitter. Frost Giant Loki is the best version of Loki, and also the hottest version. I'm with y'all, sisters. I really love like he's like more of like a jerk, but like a lovable jerk. Like, I don't know, he just felt like more complete, I guess, without having Thor to like kind of anchor him into as a real person. He could just be like the crazy fun villain that we all expect him to be.
It's like he didn't have that title hanging over him. He wasn't like the god of mischief.
He didn't have to be a prince or anything. He just got to be himself. I love all like the cameos, like Darcy and Howard the Duck, and I love Topaz and the Grandmaster. Like, those are my favorite people like in the MCU altogether. I just thought that it was a fun episode, but for something to be centered around Thor, he was the least important and least entertaining out of all of them. And it kind of goes to show like his character in general, where he's really just, I don't think he has star quality. I know, I just don't think he does. And
I get you, girl. I get you. I 100% agree.
In the list of Chris's, he's at the bottom with Pratt for me. So
I think
clearly I would agree here. Clearly,
yeah. I mean, that's top Chris.
Is that poster from Rogers the Musical coming soon?
Yeah.
I would love that. I need that to happen.
He's definitely top Chris. Well, yeah, but yeah, I think this episode really showed that the MCU kind of has a Thor problem, which is they continue to make everyone around him shine more than him. But the episode was funny. I definitely laughed a lot. But
maybe that's his superpower.
he makes
He makes everybody around him better.
So he's a Blue Lantern.
Yeah, he knows how to delegate.
He's a Blue Lantern, basically. They don't have powers, but they make the Green Lantern stronger. So
there you go. There you go. His thunder's kind of bluish, you know. It's all there.
There you go.
I don't know why I made them scissor, but just forget that.
Well,
and edit point. So I did enjoy the episode because I didn't know that I needed to see a Looney Tunes fight between Captain Marvel and Thor, and that gave me everything that I didn't even know that I wanted. And if I may quote my dear brother Jordan Harris, so he has this thing where he could watch like an amazing movie, and if the ending sucks, it ruins the whole. He's like, this movie's the worst thing I've ever seen. Yeah. So in a flip of that, the ending of this episode made the episode for me. I was just like, oh yeah, it's game time. It's game time now. But the fight with Captain Marvel and like Yali was saying, all the cameos. And again, y'all know my conspiracy about when they get a lot of the actors to play their voice actors. I'm like, this might be something special here. Like this the plot of this episode. So yeah, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Awesome. Great. I also did, and I also for the a couple of the things I wanted to bring up and see what y'all thought about it. For starters, how bad is it that all it takes for Loki and Thor to be like best friends is Odin not be a piece of trash? Because like we can talk about how Thor's garbage if you want to, but like let's face it, he learned it from King Garbage. So
Thor, my firstborn, Frick was like, yeah, fuck out of here. Firstborn.
Real, that was actually Hela in the MCU, correct?
Exactly.
Me if I'm wrong.
No, you are
right.
Like, that's why she made that face.
That's why she looked at him like,
she was like,
me out how much Hela and Loki looked alike. Because I mean, I guess in actual Norse mythology, Hela is Loki's daughter. But I mean, that doesn't matter here. But I always thought that was really weird. That those two looked alike. And then you got Thor over here, and he's like, yeah, this guy's adopted. Yeah.
What was the meme I saw for years after Ragnarok came out? It's this is what this family looks like, and it's a golden retriever with two black cats sitting on it.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I'm like, yeah, that's accurate. So speaking of the fight, which we did, the Looney Tunes fight, this is like some like Looney Tunes meet Dragon Ball Z level shenanigans. Because it's crazy and it's silly and dumb, and they're both just kind of like not really trying. But it's flying across the freaking sky. So, but to be fair, that wasn't even the craziest and silliest part of the episode, because I would argue that's probably the end. When Jane finally gets to connect with Frigga. And
chugging wine.
So she went through a lot.
Yeah, that was Asgardian wine. Jane got some high tolerance there.
I mean, I would have to have a lot of wine if I had to deal with Thor. So just saying.
Arguably. Even if you like him, he is stressful.
Exactly.
But the fact that like, you know, it basically he got everyone to start cleaning up and crap, and that almost pitch perfect timing of him leading the class that the Grand Master was even sitting at. I don't know, man. It was just silly and crazy. Like, what were some of y'all's favorites moments from the episode? Let's go with Yali for starters.
All right, you guys knew I was gonna say it, and I'm just gonna say it. This is our first sex scene in the MCU. As far as the what if, because Jane definitely had a one night stand. She had no panties on. Her panties was across the thing. I just thought like Jane is so like the uptight, serious, like I went to college and I have all my degrees type of girl. And as soon as she sees like the hottest dude in all of the universe, she goes,
the literal Disney prince.
I'm literally gonna fuck that.
What she say? She said he didn't even leave a note.
He didn't leave a note or nothing.
Even a note.
I just thought that was like, so it was like, there was a lot of things about Jane that was kind of out of character that I really didn't like, but this was like one of the ones I agree with, because like women in general, we are some very tough, smart, badass bitches, but sometimes your type just walk by and you forget all the stuff you was just saying 2 minutes ago. And I thought that made her really grounded it, and especially, and it's a good moment for her to have when we know she's soon going to be like Lady Thor, you know what I mean, which is going to be very different. So it gives not just Jane but Natalie Portman, you know, a range to go with that character, and I thought that was really, really funny. And I also like the joke. He was like, "Did you do that boom?" He goes, "No, I normally boom in private." I'm like, "What is?" Like, are you talking about sex or like going to the bathroom? Because I don't know which one you mean. You know, there's a lot of like little things that were happening that became like really bigger moments, like when Topaz and the Grandmaster are like, "We're taking the scoops, like these are coming with us."
Like, what do you say? We're gonna ride like the wind.
Ride like the wind. Like, it's like out of all the things on Earth, we have Ferraris. He was like, "No, these scoops, top notch."
Those are fun.
Yeah,
those are great to fun.
What's some of your favorite moments?
So, real quick question. Was Disney like spitting in our face calling this episode "What If Thor Was Our Only Child"? And then the first line of dialogue between him and Loki's like, "Oh, my brother from another mother." Like, was he the only child? Like,
yeah,
they clearly were best friends that grew up together. Like,
yeah,
like how much really changed. But right. The part that I thought was hilarious was Thor saying to Captain Marvel, like, "Yo, you need a timeout," with the hammer sitting on her. I just knew he was gonna leave her there. Like, I was like, "Oh, that was smart." And he's like, "Oh, you need a timeout," and then lifts the hammer. I was like, what are you doing? Put it back. Like, put it back. And then I don't know, like, if the like the canon of Captain Marvel movies was a thing, but I thought that was fucked up that the Skrulls were like making fun of Carol. I was like, "Yo, she saved your whole species." And y'all are sitting like mocking her, calling her a party pooper. I was like, "You guys are douches."
they were all very drunk.
You know what? That's what it was. But I will say that my favorite part of the whole episode was like the very subtle Bradley Cooper hangover reference. Having Rocket drunk in the bathroom. Yeah. I was like, I love that. That was great. But yeah, those were definitely my things.
Jazz?
I really liked seeing like all the little cameos that we got from the characters. I thought that was really brilliant. I think my absolute favorite thing was all of just the sass from Darcy. I was like, this is what I love about Doris is Darcy. Darcy and Loki were just like always my favorite Thor characters. And I also really liked that part where everything's all neat and tidy at the end, and then in comes the hammer, and it's still just a mess. And it's like,
still had Jane's panties.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Hammer was busy in New Orleans. It was Mardi Gras, so
right, exactly.
What Cork say? You pull off the hammer? Oh,
your hammer pulls you off.
The hammer pulls you off.
Yeah, I a lot of those are ones I absolutely love, but I think my personal favorite is the evolution of the party night from Darcy and Howard. That it starts off where they're just like, we're just gonna hang out, and then they're freaking married, and they, you know, I don't know, it's amazing. I loved it. Howard the Duck is like one of my favorite characters, and yes, Mrs. the Duck, and she's just like, Howard, come on. I'm like, that's like straight out of a sitcom.
Yeah, I would love a whole show of just that.
Yeah,
exactly.
See, after WandaVision, I was like, I just want like a comedy X-Files like show of Jimmy and Darcy going around solving mysteries.
Oh yeah.
But like
now you want Howard the Duck.
Yes, I want Jimmy, Darcy, and Howard to be like a crime-solving private eye team.
That would be epic.
I also like that they turned like Loki into like everyone's best friend, like who's like, you got a friend for me? Like, that is so like, no, like, and he's like, come on, you know you got somebody. He's like, ew, you so like, oh, like I can't remember how many times in my youth where I've been in that very fucking scenario. And like, you want me to choose from one of my friends for your friend? And I'm like, which one of these bitches I don't like a lot?
Them Parkway days.
The Parkway.
It just goes to show you could be like 1,500 years old and you never grow out of junior high. So
like, you got a friend. I'm like, oh, he's so bitchy.
Hey, bro, you're like 50 feet tall.
Right? What am I bringing?
How's this gonna work?
What was it? Yeah, if Thor is a major himbo in this, then Loki is a total fuckboy. So
absolutely.
All the way to the point where like at the very end when Thor's like, we gotta clean, and Loki's like, nah.
No, we don't have to do anything.
How about Frigga with her legendary mom status? He's like, yo, my mom's coming. Everyone's like, oh shit, Frigga's coming.
In unison.
I love the fact that he's still so scared of his mom in this episode. That was so brilliant.
Totally.
As a mom, I appreciated that because I hope to instill that same fear to my son and all his friends.
A subtle call out to Frigga. I really appreciated that Loki called Thor a son of a witch because arguably that is exactly what he is.
That was hilarious.
So
hilarious.
All right, so we can all agree that this had a terrible title, right? A terrible title. What would you choose for an alternate title?
Party Thor, like it should have been.
Thor goes to college, like I said earlier.
I like that. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
Party Thor, or was what else? Just Party Thor. Like we all thought it was Party Thor.
Well, and it worked so perfectly, knowing what it was going to be about. Like that explained. It could have been the exact same episode, but just call it Party Thor because that's what he was. My alternate title is also long, but it's what if Thor lived in an 80s party movie? Because that's basically what this entire episode was. It was like
it reminded me a lot of Ragnarok too. The way that was so 80s and party like.
Speaking of Ragnarok, another favorite moment is the drop the foam. Just the master dropping the music at the freaking party. Gets close to the mic, drop the foam.
I can't even. I don't know if you guys had these clubs like this back in our day. We had a club called Shampoo, and the big hype was the DJ would go, "Drop the foam," and then the whole room be full of foam. And now your outfit, you just pay good money for, it's covered in foam, but you still out here like, woo.
You couldn't on foam nights. You couldn't wear nice shoes.
Don't wear nothing nice on foam night.
They were destroyed.
So it was nostalgic for me because I remember like being a teenager and like being so excited for foam night. I was like, of course Thor loves foam. Like,
is it part of a party? Yes, Thor likes it, of course.
And Corey with the pacifier in his mouth.
Yep. Remember we used to have the glow in the dark ones. They would sell them outside the club.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Oh man, take me back.
Drax vomiting at the end too.
It's not a party until someone throws up.
So outside of the partying, there was a subtle thing too. I noticed we've talked about Darcy and Captain Marvel was in this and the crazy stuff. Did anybody pick up that Darcy was a little more than just like, oh man, this would be a cool job for Captain Marvel? Because when she was at about an 8, needed her at about a 4.
She was fangirl. That's what happened when you meet your idol. You take it up way too many notches. You make them uncomfortable, and then you get a cease and desist letter. Stay in the back the fuck up for me forever.
Very true.
Wasn't her idol? She thought that she was a dude. She's like, I thought you were a guy, Captain.
I'm pretty sure that's like a DC joke.
No, right?
Now he's Shazam now.
So one thing I did also notice kind of crazy about this episode in general is it's kind of following this trope that the guys are all incompetent and the ladies are the ones cleaning everything up, because there's been a lot of those in the what if stuff, and I'm not complaining, it's awesome. But this time it seemed less like, I don't know, of a normal thing, and like they're just all very tired. They're just all very tired.
Maria Hill was like, oh my God, again. Like,
after cleaning up after boys for so long, wouldn't you be exhausted too?
I'd imagine.
Maria Hill's low-key like the cornerstone of the whole MCU.
She is. She don't get her flowers.
At all. She don't get her flowers.
What's some other stuff you guys liked about the episode? Because I've kind of blown through most of my notes.
So I have a thing that I want to see what you think about in terms of the Watcher or the Snitcher, whatever you want to call it.
I'm right here.
I know, I'm sorry. So I love you from with all my heart. So I don't know if it has to be on purpose. There's no way this is accidental. I feel like each episode, the Watcher, they're like revealing more like human-y features of him, like as each episode goes by. Like first he was just the shadow, and he's like a dark outline. Now he's got like pigmentation, and I thought something was really cool. He blinked for the first time in this episode. At the end of the episode, he's never blinked. He's just had that stoic stare, and he blinked. And I don't know if this part was an accident or on purpose, but it's like the part when he blinked is when you know, it's kind of buried the lead is when Ultra Vision showed up. He's like, oh shit, like when did this happen? Like, caught me off guard. I didn't see something. Do we think that like them like humanizing him each episode? Because we had talked about this maybe like 2 weeks ago. Like potentially like the last scene of the last episode, like the end credit scene is like a in real life version of Jeffrey Morgan, like as the Watcher. Like, do you think that like them like making him more human-y and giving him like more features and like his face moves now and he's like active and things could be leading to that?
I can see that.
I personally think, at least for the scope of this show, it's literally just to represent he's going to be taking a more active role. Like he's getting closer to everything.
Gotcha.
Like emotionally, because that's the whole point of the Watcher. Is at some point he gives too much of a crap about Earth, and he's like, I guess I got to get involved now. That being said, I do really want to see some live action Watcher with him in it, with Jeffrey Wright in there playing him.
That would be dope.
Yeah. So yes, talked about Vision at the very end when the Watcher's like, happy ending. And which, by the way, this is like the first happy ending we've had in all of these episodes. With the, yeah, I think even the most benign was Captain Carter. Like that was arguably the least tragic. And then the rest of them have been pretty bad.
Pretty much.
I mean, following that ending, and it kind of really paralleled the Captain America movies itself.
Totally.
I think that's probably why we're okay with the way that ended. But yeah, definitely, I think this is probably the happiest ending that we've gotten so far.
And then Ultron.
Yeah, and then Ultron, yeah.
So I noticed, and I'm sure all of you did too, Ultron had the Infinity Stones, which is scary. But I saw a question raised online, and I'm very interested to hear you guys' thoughts about it. How did he get the Soul Stone?
Right, he has to. I mean, well, we didn't see Wanda, so
it's true.
She wasn't in this episode at all. She wasn't partying. So it's possible he threw Wanda, or
I mean,
if he could have been Tony.
I was just gonna say if his
that's
creation.
What I was gonna say. I was gonna say Tony.
Yeah, if his creation happened the way that it did in the movies, you know, Tony being his dad, tossed them off. But that also like makes like bring up a point. Obviously, like the time, it's a multiverse now. There is no time. It's all happening at the same time. But like Party Thor clearly took place in Phase 1 Thor.
I would imagine it's around the time Thor happened.
Exactly. But then this is like Vision was Phase 2, Age of Ultron. So do we think Ultra Vision is like a Nexus being? Do you think that he can like dimension hop?
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
All things are possible. So
yeah, especially if he's got his hands on Infinity Gems and stuff. Infinity Stones. He can.
Yeah, we're at this point where we have two beings with a full set of Infinity Stones. So you know that scene in the TVA where they pull out the drawer full of stones, it seems even more accurate because we've just seen two full sets in 2 episodes. So.
And it's either Ultra Vision. I've also heard it's called Infinite Ultron.
Ultron.
It's the same thing, basically, I guess. But I mean, if he's dragging a set of Infinity Stones from his dimension to this one, then there's still a set out there in Thor's dimension or whatever's going to happen. So that being said, what do we think is going to be happening in the last 2 episodes? Because we only got 2 left.
I need a zombie Thanos Ultra Vision Infinity Stone off.
Man, that just made me so uneasy when I saw that.
Because the real losers are everyone but them. So who do we root for? No one, I guess.
And then as Yali pointed out, it was clearly a TV spot for Audi cars. Like Party Thor does say something about zombies in that spot. He goes like, "Oh, zombies, great idea." When he's talking to Beetle Cape Strange,
he
mentions that. So they're going to be coming back apparently.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy.
We have 2 episodes left, and the last episode is like the Infinite Ultron episode. And I'm kind of wondering if what they're going to do is like in the next episode, give us like half the episode telling us how this Ultron came about. And then the other half is the starting of putting together the Guardians of the Multiverse or whatever they're going to call themselves this week. So
we're tired of names.
I hope so, because that would give us a good backstory on how everything happens instead of just throwing us into this world and with no real explanation.
Right. Because we still need the Apocalypse version of Black Widow and the leader version of Gamora still have to be introduced. And we've got 2 episodes.
What wasn't that Black Widow on the beach? Like that one random scene where there was like a lady sitting on the beach. Wasn't that Black Widow?
I was wondering who that was. I like rewatched that part a bunch of times and I couldn't.
Because I was like, we haven't met her and we need her. What if is that just her chilling and she doesn't
hanging out on the beach?
she's in Tahiti, you know.
That's as soon as I saw it, I was like, Tahiti's a magical place.
Yeah, I'm unsure how they're going to do it, but I know we got Strange and T'Challa and Thor and Captain Carter. I know those 4. I wouldn't be surprised if they're going to pluck like one character from each episode to do something with.
I don't know. I was still under the belief that like there were still like mad changes that happened. Like even till like up until the moment of episodes being released, because there's 2 episodes left. There's a lot of voice actors who still haven't appeared yet, or like things from the mid-season trailer that haven't even showed up at all. And it's like, if you're going to try to tell me we got to create this team and create these characters we haven't even seen yet, how long is each episode? Like how much time are you really going to devote to it? Because some things are going to be left, on the chopping block because you don't have enough time for all of it. So I feel like there was just a lot of things that got cut off or remixed. Like I said, even the order of the episodes was changed. So it's just, my concern is that this will end in a way that says, wait, we'll see you in season 2. Exactly. Like we're not going to get all our answers now. You have to come back a year from now because
we're going to drag it out for 10 years, basically. Like
it's gonna be like a Dragon Ball Z saga. It's like this fight is 22 episodes, but you won't get the other 22 until next time around.
Namek was getting ready to explode for 5 minutes for 56 episodes.
Exactly. So that's my biggest concern with this. Like I said, there's too many people we haven't seen. There's too many clips that we saw that haven't even appeared yet. And I think at this point they're like I think they're scrambling because I think that they messed up. Part of me thinks that I don't think they thought it would be as successful as it has become. And so now they're trying to like fill in the gaps of things, it just seems like a mess. Like Loki seemed like a mess for a little bit until like the latter half of it where like all kind of connected and made sense. And like I'm getting the same vibe from this, like something about it doesn't flow correctly or doesn't sit comfortably when you're watching it all at one shot or like some episodes back to back. So I'm just having like what happened behind the scenes, if that's what people are experiencing as watchers.
Well, one thing that I've learned watching Marvel over the 10 years was that I just always have faith in them because I was always a little skeptical about certain things. Like Chris Evans is going to play Captain America, what? And he was freaking fantastic. So you just got to have faith. He
was casted on his ass, and America's ass is a good
America's
one.
ass.
So you're saying he was casted?
I'm saying. So he got the job solely based off that scene from Not Just Another Teen Movie.
That's
what you're saying.
Exactly.
Got you.
I don't
Between that and Scott Pilgrim,
there you go.
There you go.
We need you.
Wasn't he ass naked in Fantastic Four too? When he came out the
pretty close. Pretty close.
His body got him the job. Look at that.
So every one of these I try to pull up like who's actually in the episode and who isn't. And this is actually one of the biggest ones where I don't think a lot of the people. Oh my God, that reminded me of one of my favorite parts was freaking Surtur hitting on the Statue of Liberty.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah.
And then he burned her arm off by accident.
Yep.
Which just keeps adding that they could have just let Dave Bautista do Drax. Like, you had Surtur come in for one line.
Oh my God.
But like a lot of them that only had one line were there, like Taika Waititi and Seth Green, of course, reprised Howard the Duck. Rachel House, who played Topaz in this. And
yeah, once she said one word.
No, Rachel is not busy. Let's just be honest.
True.
She's living off that Moana money right now.
Doesn't she remind you of the Trunchable off Matilda?
Yes,
every time I see her,
does.
she reminds
Very
me of
much
Trunchable
so.
every time.
But we didn't have Brie Larson playing Carol. We didn't have Rene Russo playing Frigga. It's just a lot of them weren't the same actors. So I'm starting to wonder if like the actors that didn't show up to reprise their roles are ones that Disney aren't considering continuing their characters.
He did say that he's done at the Guardians 3 with Drax. He did announce that. That's a good point. It could be. So yeah, we're not going to give you your going away money.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's just kind of like, we don't want to do any more contracts with these particular actors, which would be sad. I mean, for some of them. But then again, Clancy Brown played Surtur, and Clancy Brown, I doubt they're going to bring Surtur back. So,
right.
God. Oh my God. Yeah.
Well, I always had hope that we would see more from like the Black Widow type of stuff until all of this madness happened with Scarlett Johansson and Disney. So, I mean, that's definitely not going to happen now, but.
I mean, who would ever thought that we would have got Spider-Man in the MCU? We never.
That's very true, though.
Never say never.
Yeah, but now you have like Andy Serkis like going out his way to say like, "Yo, Venom in the MCU. I'm telling you. Like, can you calm down? Like, Disney's gonna send someone to kill you because you keep telling us."
They like, "Hey, yo, Sony, get your man. Get your man."
Every time he's in an interview, he goes, "I'm telling you guys, you're gonna see this guy," pointing like to Tom Hardy and his dog. He's gonna see him in the MCU.
They're gonna need somebody to babysit him like they have to do with Tom Holland.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh my God.
That's pretty accurate.
Yeah.
Because previously he's only been like an actor in these things, so I'm pretty sure it's like only give him his script, it'll be fine. Yep. But now he's writing some of them and in charge of some of them
and directing some of them. It's like, Andy, shut up.
Like, we get it.
We'll give you your precious.
Here. Like, we went to Mount Doom for you. Shut up.
Which was also a character from the movies that when he died, I was super upset about it. Because even though it was used well, Claw was a fun character.
He was.
He was great.
He was hilarious.
But and then seeing him again in the Killmonger episode was really nice for that reason.
It was so odd that this episode also had a lot of like character cameos who didn't say anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Heimdall was there, not a word. Yondu was there, not a word. Like there was so many characters there who said nothing at all. But it was just like, you know, Idris isn't going to come back because like his contract is up, but we still want him there. You know what I mean? So we'll just have him be quiet.
But we got lots of crossbones.
Just grunt.
we got lots of crossbones.
We did. That's nice. Well, he did say there's gonna be more of him, so at least he's not lying. You know.
And I'm always happy to see Clark Gregg show up again too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Just bring him back. Just bring him back into the MCU. Just give us Quake. Bring everyone back.
Universe, we can have Coulson back.
Exactly. I need Mac and his shotgun axe in a movie.
He totally needs to be one of the Guardians of the Multiverse. He's the guy that flies the ship or something.
It's always a ship or something. I wonder what it is that they just don't want to. Like, is it him? Is it Disney? Like, I would love to know what that looks like.
Oh, it's definitely not him. He's been lobbying as recently as like now, saying like,
does he have old tweets that he like Disney knows about and he doesn't?
That might be it.
Like, is that what that is?
I think at this point Disney's just kind of like we have too much going on at this point because they have a backlog of movies to get out from last year, and then all the show content that's been pushed back and stuff, and they have so much more in the pipe that's introducing new characters, and I think that's a big thing is they're just wanting to focus on new characters. We're getting towards the end of it too, and speaking of new characters, I find it interesting that we haven't had a what if multiverse where the mutants exist. Because that could have been a very easy thing to do, like super easy, because they have the rights to them now.
Yeah, there's a deep fake poster of like Wolverine on there, like a what if fake poster, and like people were like tweeting like, "Oh, is this confirmed?" I'm like, first of all, this is like really good Photoshop, but I think it just shows people really want it that badly, and like I said, it doesn't take much to just plop him in the background. Like this would have been the perfect place for the party Thor to just throw a mutant or two.
Like you have Wolverine there having a beer.
Like what if a mutant made the foam? Like he said, drop the foam, and it's just like a mutant making bubbles and shit.
It's Iceman.
The Storm just making it happen.
Making foam.
Like that would have been cool. Like that would have been the perfect moment to do it, and like it feel right. You know what I mean? Like I'm not sure. Like I think that they keep thinking like in order to bring the mutants in, we want some grand grandiose entrance. No, just do it. You know what I mean? We don't
hurry up.
They can give them to us and then give us an explanation later.
Yeah, exactly. Like we don't want it. Like they give us a little bit of Spider-Man, without the Uncle Ben is dead type shit. And people ate that shit up. You can do the exact same thing with the X-Men without an origin story because we already know it.
Every time my Uncle Ben dies, a little piece of my soul goes with him. I couldn't take it anymore.
Well, you didn't have to.
Exactly. Appreciate it.
Do this time.
Speaking of X-Men, did y'all see that alleged Patrick Stewart visual effects leak from Multiverse of Madness?
That's literally just a scene from like episode. I mean,
from X-Men episode.
From the first X-Men, from the very first X-Men.
The animated series.
Yeah.
So
it's like a clip from like X-Men Evolution, but like just 3D eyes. Right. Horrifying.
So you did bring up Multiverse of Madness, which is it's not the next movie, but it's like one of the early ones next year, I think, like February of next year.
Yeah, I think it's the one after Spider-Man for sure. Yeah,
because we still had Spider-Man's this year, I think.
Yeah,
it's in December, and then we have
December 22nd.
We have Eternals in November, I think, and Spider-Man in December, and I think the first movie of next year is Multiverse of Madness. So, like, you think that maybe we're going to see some of the side effects from these episodes pop up there?
I definitely.
Yeah.
I think that's a pretty safe bet because and if we don't, that's really disappointing because they're building all of this up for the multiverse. And then if it doesn't happen.
And they did say that anything that happens is technically canon in the MCU.
Yep.
So like, I don't know. I'm a little disappointed because they could also be using these episodes to bridge stuff from the comics to the series of movies.
Absolutely.
Because they're not. And like, are we literally dealing with two separate multiverses now? Like, what the heck's going on?
A multiverse?
A multiverse.
Whoa.
But yeah,
that's a lot.
It would be. I would like to see Beetle Strange show up because like Benedict Cumberbatch all cracked out with the like sunken in cheeks and the dark circled eyes.
All cracked out. I still think that he's gonna show up in Multiverse of Madness. I think. I feel like him and Peter having a lover's quarrel in the concept of the trailer doesn't make any sense. Like, yo, you did the spell for him. Yeah. Why are you mad and chasing him through the streets of New York trying to beat him up?
Here's my theory on that. Like in that whole Spider-Man thing, it's not actually Strange, it's Agatha. Because that whole wink that he did, I kind of got Agatha vibes.
Really? I think it's Loki. Because why is it all frozen? Because I'm like, well, Loki's a frost giant and they like it to be cool temperatured. It's like, so what if and also the hair, like the parting of the hair is similar to how Loki wears it.
Back,
I was like, so maybe it's just Loki. And again, Loki doesn't owe Peter Parker anything because he's never met him. You know what I mean? So it's just like, sure, I'll do a spell for you, kid I never met. Like,
I mean, he's got that same personality that I was getting off of. So that's definitely a possibility. I would be there for it.
I think it's Loki.
I'd be interested. I
would love if it's Agatha because we get a little musical number after it, I'm sure. But
I still think it is Strange. Like, I really do think it is. And it's this Strange. Like, our movie universe is strange. If only because, like, everyone's like, Strange wouldn't do such a risky spell. Yes, he would. Yes, Strange. If there's one thing that Doctor Strange in the movies and the What If series does not like, it's being told you can't do the thing. Like, that's literally everything about him.
Pretty much.
He doesn't like that. Like, you don't. And like, for a little bit, he was fine when he was trying to become a mage or a wizard, and then he did, and then he just became himself again. Like, less of a jerk, but still the same.
Well, unless he just has like guilt for Peter, like, you know, I knew your dad friend was gonna die and I didn't tell you, so I feel sad. So maybe I owe you one, you know, so you feel better, like help you heal.
Like, and I'd imagine that like he was gonna say no. Like, Strange would have been like, no, that's a bit much. And then Wong's like, don't do the spell. And Strange is like,
we're doing it.
Well, now I gotta.
Don't embarrass me in front of the kid. You know,
right? Yeah, given a personality like that, the title of Sorcerer Supreme, who thought that was a good idea?
Yeah, no, it's a current frustration I have when the person in charge is an idiot and the second in command is literally the only person that's keeping everything together, because that's
But
definitely
Wong clearly doesn't want it. Like he
Wong,
clearly does
Wong's
not
off,
want it at all.
Wong is off hanging out with Abomination. He don't care about
That's true.
he don't care about none of this stuff. He's like, I'm making money. Like, y'all do what y'all want.
I saved the world. I'm done. See ya.
Right? I got my Hoka Hoka burning fudge and I'm out. Like,
He said, I met my quota. Like, we're good.
I'm good for the day.
We're good.
but Strange, don't do the thing. See, like I would be more willing to believe that wasn't actually Wong. That was like somebody knowing that could play on Strange's fears. Everyone's
that.
like, oh, it's freaking what's his name, the devil. I can't remember his
Mephisto.
Yeah. Like
all things come up Mephisto.
like maybe Strange isn't Mephisto, maybe Wong is Mephisto, and he's just
I'd like that a lot.
I like
Dang.
that a lot.
Yeah.
What if Wong has been Mephisto this
The
whole
whole
time?
time.
The whole time. Yeah, no, I'd really like that. That'd be dope.
Wait, isn't that Agatha's role? I mean, it was Agatha all along and all of
That's true. That's true.
It has been Agatha all along.
Well, I think what we'll get is like a Mephisto Agatha fight where they both say no, it was really me all along, and they like have like a dance off.
A
Like
musical
you got,
number.
like you got
Only
third
in
child with a
Rogers
hat
the
in the
musical,
middle.
though.
And yeah, inside of Rogers the Musical. That's exactly
Yes.
what's gonna happen.
You know what I mean?
So,
That's gonna happen.
So we got the multiverse set up. We're looking to our big bad of the season, I guess, or maybe the whole series. I have no idea. You don't throw something like Ultron with Infinity Stones and just be like, nah, just once. That's all. It's fine.
Season over.
Well, they built up Thanos like over 10 years. Too,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, absolutely.
So where do you think we might go with the next season?
Yeah.
Well, if they
Now
don't do
I'm
the
confused.
zombies, if they don't do the Thanos zombie, then he definitely goes over. I would say to the next season, but they definitely have to, and they also with the whole multiverse thing. Again, I still think it's a way to kind of get people ready for Secret Wars, and they'll have Peter have to pick people from different dimensions and do it that
The
way.
Dark Avengers are coming. I
Yeah,
think,
something
too.
like that. Like I feel like that's where we're at, and I also want like I do want to like, what if it was Mephisto the entire time? Like they just make
Every
whole
dimension, they
the
just
whole
have
10 years.
make everything Mephisto.
yeah, the whole 10 years, and they just change it to Mephisto, and just
Yeah,
see
that'd
like
be hilarious.
I think that would be really, really funny. I think people would enjoy that.
Mephisto set up Tony getting kidnapped by the 10 Rings.
And yeah, like
It's
just all of it. Like,
it's just everything was Mephisto.
I think that'd be funny.
So we got still 10-15 minutes left. Is there any other moments you want to talk about from the episode? Anything fun or dumb or theories?
Well, I was going to ask you guys, since we are getting a lot of new characters in the MCU, but the one character we haven't heard anything about is Ghost Rider. So do you think Ghost Rider is going to come back like in a what if style, or will he appear in like Moon Knight, like, or he's just, you know what, they're like, fuck it, we didn't no one likes the Ghost Rider, no Ghost Rider for you. Like, but he's the only character that hasn't got, like, because even with the Netflix Marvel characters, like there's talks of them coming back in some form of another, but the only person they haven't talked about is Ghost Rider. So I was wondering if you guys thought he would come back or he's done for.
I have two thoughts on that. First, there was a Ghost Rider. It wasn't Johnny Blaze, but a Ghost Rider in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And that could be part of,
Robbie Reyes. You beat me.
Yeah,
by 1
Robbie
second.
Reyes.
and that could be part of the reason they haven't really messed with it, because they're just like, if we talk about Ghost Rider, people are going to be like, well, why not Quake? And all sorts of other stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that being said, I think a perfect way to introduce Ghost Rider as like a tail on for Blade somewhere. Because outside of Multiverse and Madness, Blade is the next like mystical adjacent one we have with vampire. Well, and Shang-Chi, but like, you know, we know Blade a Blade sequel is coming. We haven't heard about a Shang-Chi sequel yet. I'd imagine we're gonna get one.
The
10 rings are coming back.
10 rings are coming back.
Yeah.
But we do know there's a Blade movie coming out, and I think that would be, if they don't find another way to introduce him, if they're going to, then that would be a perfect way to do it. So
no, I'm totally rolling with Joe, because I'm gonna always champion Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because I love that show. And when Robbie Reyes leaves the season that he was featured in, he leaves through like a sling ring portal, which they don't really ever like explain how he has that type of magic, but it like kind of gives him like he's like an interdimensional being. He can travel through space and time. So they could definitely just have him come back like easily.
So
I'm here for it.
Would you want one of the different Ghost Riders?
I like the Robbie Reyes Shield Ghost Rider.
I just think like as far as
Nick Cage or bust.
No, not even. Because I fell asleep during the second one and I paid for that.
Oh
shit,
yeah, that movie was terrible.
I woke up. I said, "There's two of them
now." Because there's been like 4 or 5 Ghost Riders, and that's not even including the weird offshoot comics where like Punisher was a Ghost Rider.
But I love that version. That's one of my favorite ones. But I just feel like there's a lot of, and I don't want to make this like a cultural or like race thing, but there's not enough Hispanic representation where the characters are actually Hispanic. Like, because I know we got like Lupita Nyong'o and Zoe Saldana, but they're not playing Hispanic, so it's not really the same thing. So I think bringing back Robbie Reyes would be a cool thing. But I also agree that people are going to go, but what about Quake and what about Fitz and Terrell? And
bring them.
I know that they don't want to have to deal with that, but also why not? I just feel like we need more of that, and I think Blade is going to need somebody. I agree that it should be either Blade or Moon Knight, because I think that they need more of that darkness, like Jaz was saying, like a dark Avenger, something that goes the opposite, because most of these films are very bubbly and bright and cartoony so that kids can enjoy it. Even the short-lived Hulu series Hellstrom, like that was their version of Marvel's version of trying to get, dark and gritty, and it just I love Hellstrom
and Thor Dark World. They tried to get dark.
They did. No, they filtered everything very darkly.
Didn't work out too well.
That's Thor Sapia. I'm not,
look, all I'm saying, there's a lot of problems.
It's right there in the title, Dark World.
So many problems with Dark World, but the worst of them, and I've said it before, I will say it again, is criminally wasting Peter Eccleston. So that's all I'm saying.
I just think, like I said, I just think that Ghost Rider is a good opportunity to bring in some representation for Latinos, but also give us a chance at some more darker shit, because the parents and the adults are the ones with the money. So make some shit for us too.
Cater to us.
No, I don't want to keep having to see kid shit.
Well, to be fair, so like when this MCU started, like I said, they've been building it over 10 years for the Infinity Saga. These kids are grown up now.
Exactly. Like, let's move along.
Well, and each year they get progressively more like willing to take some of these risks that they wouldn't have taken previously. Like, the first Iron Man is stupid violent, like so violent. And then like, even though the second Captain America, there's very little blood, he does throw a guy into a propeller.
So many people die.
So many people are just straight up disintegrated. And all that jazz, where like they did kind of have this stuff. I don't think we're gonna ever get to the 1980s of like RoboCop action figures for a rated R movie, but I think it's I mean, with them trying to make Venom PG-13, like that is definitely a signal that they think they can get away with more and keep these ratings accessible.
I don't know.
I might be wrong on this, but I heard a rumor that Deadpool is coming to the Marvel, so I'm hoping that they will keep that in the rated R category.
They said I heard that they said that they were going to leave it as rated R.
I do think
have it be a Fox property in the MCU.
I think they could make a PG-13 Deadpool work, if only because, was it Ultimate Spider-Man, I think is the one, or is the Amazing Spider-Man the one where he has the team? Yeah. There's a Deadpool episode, and it's phenomenal.
X-Force.
But like there's the scene where he talks about like, you can say the K word, I can't say it. I have to say that I unalive them, and like that, it's like things like that still maintain his attitude.
But that joke is for an adult. That's not for a kid. Like, you know what I mean?
But that's what these movies do.
And Venom being PG-13 is solely because they still want to be able to have kids be allowed to see it, so that they can sell them the plates, the cups, the pajamas, the socks, the scrunchies, and all the other stuff. And I think like that's totally fine, because as a business you have to make money, like, so you can keep funding these projects. But at a certain point, Disney Marvel has to decide to either not cater to adults or cater to us, because even DC, for lack of just having shitty quality, they still have stuff that is solely for grown-ups, like Titans and Doom Patrol, and like those things are for grown-ups, and mind you, it's on HBO Max, but it's easier to control that way. And then the shows on the CW, like those are for teenagers, and then they're able to like give you DC in different like categories and stuff. And I'm not sure why Marvel won't do the same thing. Like I think they tried to do it with Hellstrom and it didn't work.
Well, I think they've been trying to do that with the shows.
Yeah, Disney said that was like a big reason for like the Hulu like purchases, that they can put adult content on there and still it be under the Disney umbrella.
Yeah, but they won't go. Like I promise, they won't go all the way with it. Like
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like just go all the way with it. Like
we're not going to see HBO level going all the way, but like I mean. But like
you don't want to see America's ass giving it up to somebody like let's stop playing games. We're all adults here. Like everyone wants to see Loki get busy with Sylvie. Like it's not even a game. Like don't play with me.
Only if Chris Evans playing Captain America in that sense. That's the only way I want to see it now. And I don't think we're gonna get that now.
Let Bucky and Sam get a little drunk one night and things happen. That's all I'm saying. Like
no, Bucky wants the sister. He don't want Sam. He's like, nah.
I'm just saying, like, there's money to be made elsewhere too. Like, we buy shit too. Like, I want Marvel to be as unlimited as the comics are, because they're same with the comics. They're comics solely intended for the younger crowd, and then they get for older people. So, like, why not make your money on all platforms?
I think part of that could be that like they want to still maintain this like single continuity world. And if they make any part of that single continuity world inaccessible to certain people, then that's a part. And granted, like 8-year-olds are going to watch rated R movies. Let's say what it's going to be.
I was 4 years old when I saw The Crow, and there was a murder and rape all in that bitch. Okay,
Predator was my first movie. Okay,
yeah,
just throwing it out there.
There you go.
No, but that's for life.
That's a good point, Joe, because it's like in this age of hypersensitivity, like we, for whatever reason, we treat the R rating like it's an NC-17 rating. It's like rated R just means like it's parental advisory. Like you can go with your parents like to a rated R movie. Like,
I mean,
like
that happened in the first Deadpool.
Exactly. And like Yali said, like we're the ones with the money. So we're buying multiple tickets so the kids can come see the property anyway.
I think there's a big disconnect between these creators and like general populace, because it's such a varied lot of people. Because it's not just here, like it's global. Mm-hmm. They want these things to be global. Very and there's other considerations they're making. And while I agree, I would love to see some darker, more serious toned things. I don't expect that to happen outside of them doing experimental stuff like the shows. Like stuff like What If could get a lot darker, because they could just be like, this isn't part of the timeline, it's something else.
We have some time on our hands.
As long as they're going to make all of this stuff part of your core series of movies, then it's the argument people that play crap tons of video games have, where it's the idea that if they make novels for your video game that fills in gaps of the stories between the sequels of the video games, then that's a piece of the video game you don't necessarily have access to, because maybe you didn't know it was a book. So it's that similar kind of mentality, like, this character shows up and he's in one of the R-rated movies, and this kid's like, my parents wouldn't let me see that or something.
Because it's not for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But that's the thing, as long as they're maintaining that continuity, they're going to want to keep like everything accessible at the same level. I think personally, I don't like it.
An R-rated superhero film works. We've seen it work with Logan.
Yep.
And that was
such a great movie.
Merchandise wise.
That was nominated for an Oscar.
Exactly. Like it does work. I just think that they need to like I said, maybe make it one experiment and give it like 100% and let it see what happens.
Blade is the perfect. That's the perfect.
Keep in mind, that was Fox too.
That's true. But like now they have it back, so you know what I mean. So like, are they going to take that legacy of like Logan was the last memory of Logan was this hardcore, bloody, like emotional, dramatic thing, and then somehow bring it back and like make him say like fart jokes and shit? Like that's not what people are gonna want.
Right. Especially if it's Hugh Jackman that comes back.
Oh
like,
my god! Or even some younger kid or a new actor. Like I think there's a lot to be considered as they move through the phases, especially when you have someone like Blade and Moon Knight, who was going through so much crazy shit. Like that to be a PG is a disservice to the character in itself.
Absolutely.
But I also think if you could do like a PG-13 with something like Moon Knight and approach it without the like violence level, like you do, like don't get me wrong, it would be amazing.
He needs to be beating the shit out of some people.
Exactly. Breaking. Like,
I don't want to see him considering like, well, maybe I shouldn't. No, beat the shit out of them because the voice in your head told you to.
But
that's something
like,
I want.
Like it's the idea that like I think it's like you can still do very dramatic and intense pieces. It's just, you know, without the violence some of these superheroes have. So that being said, like what property would you like them to do R-rated?
Blade. They have to do Blade. It has to be Moon Knight. Deadpool has to do it. And I think
if they bring that back.
And I think if they do, and if Andy Serkis isn't a liar, then I want Venom versus Spider-Man to be R-rated, because Venom is fucking terrifying. He's not supposed to be this funny version we have now. And like I could see Peter not taking this version of Venom seriously if he's at PG-13. You know what I mean? Like Peter used to be terrified of having to face Venom. And like, I don't see anyone being scared of him. Like, I'm not scared of him.
Well, they're already, part of the reason it was terrifying to face Venom is not only is Venom just this alien thing, Venom knew everything about Parker.
Exactly. So, like, we need that fear factor.
Just like I think they're going to try and do it a different way if they put them together, because, you know, Brock doesn't know Parker and Parker hasn't had the black suit yet and all that jazz. So.
I don't the Tom Hardy Eddie Brock's like, I don't see him hating Tom Holland. Like I don't what's
the way Tom Hardy be acting. He be
not unless they somehow Lex Luthor him into hating him. You know what I mean? Like where they trick him.
Exactly.
So, all right. Well, we got about 4 minutes left. If people want to do their shout outs and share what they're working on. Jazz, I'll start with you. Where can the people find you, and any fun stuff you're working on?
So, I mean, as mentioned before, you can catch me Tuesdays over here on Fandom Spotlight with the Walking Dead and reaction panel. You can also find me, I guess, technically, now that I'm actually starting to set it up, Rose City Widow on Facebook, and then you can also catch me at Rose City Widow on Instagram. And check out the Vancouver Master Chorale and Honeybee Sing on Instagram, Facebook. Couple music groups I'm into, and we're starting to do some Christmas stuff there. So stuff is coming that way.
Ooh, so exciting stuff.
Matt, tell people about what you want to share.
Guess I'm giving my outro with my camera out of focus. But it's whatever. Matthew Porter on Facebook. That's Porter with 2 T's _ Menace to Sobriety on Instagram. That's the number 2, not spelled out. And you can catch me every Sunday on Spotify, Apple, and Anchor at the Ether Podcast. That is EITHER. The E is silent. I'm sorry, the I is silent. We didn't spell it wrong.
And Yali.
I am here at Fandom Spotlight, content curating and meme making and writing shit up and looking at all you guys' stuff that you guys make, which is great. Again, I work for Bigger Anime, but legally I'm not allowed to talk about it. But again, there's only one left, so you figure it out. You can follow me on Twitter at Beautifully Nerd, where I get into plenty of fights and put my job on the line. So if you want to see me fight with random people, go on there. And also I just want to give like a quick shout out to Alex Belafonte, because he was the one who commented last time and I didn't get to it. So I apologize, Alex. Big sorry. And next time I will pay attention to the chat.
And I've been your terrible host, Joe. You can find me on Twitter at the Spice Must Joe. That's also you can find me on Facebook and LinkedIn. Joseph Davis.
Careerbuilder.com.
And you guys are ending this episode super sober because we didn't say the words.
That being said, it was brought up once, I believe. So anyway, thank you for joining us.
Super sober.
Thank you for joining us, and follow your fandom. Enjoy yourselves out there, everyone.